The next game in my countdown at number 4 has spanned in the history of Nintendo racing games since the Nintendo 64, as far as I can remember. And it's Mario Kart. Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube is my favorite Mario Kart for several reasons. Now, number 1, it's the only Mario Kart where you can actually race on the same kart with a friend. It's fantastic. You can have a backseat driver, and you can use the right bumper and the left bumper to punch the other carts and knock them out. And if they have items, you can steal the items. So you could get close, and you could get your friend in and be like, slam him now and take it, and then boost and go if it was a mushroom, or use whatever it was. And I really hope that in Mario Kart 8, which should come out soon, sometime this year actually, I hope Nintendo brings that back, because that was a great feature. And also, the maps that were introduced in this game, in Mario Kart Double Dash, were some of my favorite maps. And you can see them reappear in the Wii version and Mario Kart 7 because they're so great. And it's one of those games where you had these karts that never got to appear again. They had one shot, they only had one appearance, like the parade kart. And karts like that are exclusive to that game, I understand that, and that makes them special in itself, but some of them I thought should make a return, and they didn't, which disappointed me. But Mario Kart Double Dash has always stuck with me as one of my favorite Mario Karts. Number 3 in the countdown is another racing game, but it's the Kirby game, Kirby Air Ride! Now, I have logged in so many hours of gameplay to this, it is sick and twisted. In the city trial grid block checklist, everything is checked off. It's a giant gold square with 4 purple blocks in it, because you get those blocks too. But, I have logged in so many hours to this game, you can not only go like a normal racing game in Air Ride, where you drive around on Warp Stars as Kirby, or D2D and Meta Knight if you unlock them, but you can also play 2 different other modes! Top Ride, which I'm not a fan of, not many people are, but Top Ride, where you actually look at the carts from a top view. You get different carts though, and they're less cool. You go around different tracks, and you race a lot more because the tracks are a lot smaller, but you get a top view and you can pick up items. Now, that's a great game in itself, but there's City Trial too, and in my opinion, City Trial's my favorite. City Trial, you actually have up to 7 minutes if you change the game settings, which I always do because I love it. It's normally 5, but up to 7 minutes where you can race around the city starting on the normal star that you're given. It's not a warp star, I forget the name of it. It's like a prototype star or whatever. It's not, it's the little light yellow one. Anyway, you race around on that, and you can hop off it, look around, and find other carts. And then you get on those carts and you collect power-ups to increase your defense and offense, because guess what? When those 5 minutes are up, you go to a mini-game or a race, and you fight against all the people that you're playing against in multiplayer on City Trial. So, that was so much fun for me, and it was never reproduced in any way. There was no sequel, which made me really upset, because this was such a great game. I'd really like to see a sequel of Kirby Air Ride sometime soon. And if you would too, leave me a comment, because that's great. I probably really like you, because this is one of my favorite games ever, which is why it earns my number 3 spot. Now, number 2 on my list, I've come to pick because of peer pressure from other recognized gamers in the world of gaming. Like, I see top 10 lists all the time for GameCube games, or top 20 lists, or whatever. Metroid Prime, which is number 2 on my list. Metroid Prime is always rated really highly, so I had to put it at number 2 on my list. Why? Because the graphics are phenomenal. After I noticed how highly this game was rated, I played it myself. The graphics are phenomenal. The variety of enemies you face is phenomenal. You get to play as Samus Aran, who is a super sexy bounty hunter in a mech suit, essentially, with a cannon arm that fights these things, and you can turn to a morph ball. You can move around these crazy worlds that will blow your mind in space and fight these enemies, and it was fantastic. I don't really have much else to say about this game, because, again, I never really got too far into it, because I mostly play multiplayer games, for the reason I mentioned before, but this game, it has to earn the number 2 spot. It just has to. Oh, we're filming? At number 1 in my countdown. Number 1! Smash Bros. Melee. Smash Bros. Melee is my favorite GameCube game of all time. I don't even care what the reports say, what the reviews say, what is supposed to be number 1. I think it should be Smash Bros. Melee. For a simple reason. 2! Mewtwo! Mewtwo is fantastic! Dr. Mario is great! Those are two of my favorite characters that never made a reappearance! Sure, many of you may think Lucario is a reskin of Mewtwo, but there's different moves Lucario has! Mewtwo is the only character who could stun somebody with his mind, could lift them up, could... Well, no, Lucario could shoot an energy ball, but I just loved him! There's so much replay value in this game. I have not logged in any... By God, this game is fantastic. I have not logged in nearly as many hours in any other game as I have in this game. Smash Bros. Melee takes the cake 100%. I have played through this game so many times, and the campaign, it never gets old. Sure, it's like, oh, I've got to do the race again. Oh, I've got to collect the trophies again. Oh, I've got to fight Master Hand again. But there's so many interesting aspects to this game that I would have to compose myself and stop acting like a little schoolgirl to tell you about everything. So, one, there are a few little Easter eggs that I thought are really cool. Like, one, you can turn into Master Hand and actually fight in a multiplayer map as Master Hand, which is really cool. So look that up, because I'm not gonna explain it and go into it, because it's a certain amount of buttons you're gonna press. You can also call in Star Fox's team on Venom, I believe it, as if you play as Star Fox by rocking back and forth on the D-pad. That's easy enough to explain. And you can unlock characters to play as throughout the game, which makes it enjoyable. It makes you want to play it more. And when you have your friends over, you can play versus matches, and you can mess with the customization so much. You can make super sudden death, you can make stock, you can make time, you can make coins. There's no limit to what you can do with that. And also, you can play on a variety of stages that come from all different Nintendo games. It's like a collection of Nintendo games poured into one. You can't say no. It's like the best candy at the candy store. You can pick from Fox, you can pick from Pikachu from the Pokemon series, you can pick from Samus, you can pick from Link, you can pick from Mario and Luigi and Peach and Bowser and all the classic Mario characters, Donkey Kong. There's so many different characters to pick from. It's phenomenal. I could go on forever about it. The stages are great. Classic music like from Mute City, Pokey Floats is one of the great ones you can unlock. You can play as Mr. Game & Watch, which is one of the oldest video game characters I know. So again, this got to be the #1 spot.